we wanted to thank you and let you know that we appreciate this recognition and the acknowledgement of tree farmers. We also want to say that we particularly like Lewis County chapter because the membership seems to represent hardworking families, and they actively manage their tree farms, and that means a lot to us as far as active management. We're Bruce and Mary McDonald. We're both professional foresters with degrees in the Bachelor of Science in Forest Management from the University of Montana. Go Grizz. Bruce is a certified American Tree Farm Inspector and currently serves as the supervisor on Lewis County Conservation Board. Our professional experience, like Rick mentioned, we've worked in several cities, states, and federal agencies, but now we're both retired. We love spending time working on the tree farm and living the retirement life. Together, this was our workforce. We have 3 sons who actively participated in managing our tree farm throughout their upbringing. Managing the tree farm for us provided the opportunity to share with them their appreciation, our appreciation of the land, share with them some forestry information, knowledge, and then also, like as mentioned, just a work ethic so that they know about hard work and at all. Someone asked, I used to talk about our son, this was our workforce, but this photo is, I don't know, I'd say 10 years old at least. The youngest is 28, and one of them is a father and has 2 kids already. So we don't have access to this workforce anymore.
Sure.
Yeah, we're gonna switch off, and don't hesitate to ask us any questions. When we pull this together, we have a brief overview, and then we wanted to talk about our successes and our challenges, and not get too much into the details of, 12 by 12 or just what chemical we use, but more in general. But don't hesitate to ask us any questions if you have any questions.
Yeah, so thank you again, and it's amazing what you can do with a ATV and a truck and a trailer and 3 boys. That's what hooks them in right away. But so we own a total of 80 acres. There's 40 acres in Lewis County, and there's another 40 that we have over in Grays Harbor County. This one's about, of course, here. We got the land at a public auction where you raise your card and say, okay, here we go. And that was in 2005. And this was a piece that we had that we bought, was owned previously by Longview Bell, if anybody knows that, long time ago. Traded to International Paper, sold to them, and then it was part of the Germany Creek holding when it went to the Campbell Group. When Campbell Group sold it to Sierra Pacific, they got rid of all their small pieces that were isolated away from them, and that's how we got it. They just wanted to get rid of it. It was a liability. So anyways, when we got it, it was, they signed on it. There was 2 O's planted after a site prep, and there was a lot of rock on the road. It looked like they logged it in the dead of winter, so there was a lot of really good rock on the road. Let's see, we're surrounded mostly by Weyerhaeuser. We have to go through Weyerhaeuser to get to the property. And then over to the west of us, there's some other small private landowners. There's probably about 9 all together that is adjacent to us. Right now, we got it in 3 stands. There's 3 stands. There's 34 acres of pure Doug fir that got planted after they logged it. There's a little bit of an RMZ that they had to leave on a fish-bearing water right to the south down there in the upper northwest corner. And there was a field down there that people had been using for hay for however long. International Paper didn't seem to care, so the neighbors were haying it, but that came over to us, and that became a CRP that we applied for. And then the other stand is just kind of 1.3 acres remaining out there in the corner that's just kind of out there that we planted trees in anyways, and who knows if you can ever get to it or not. But the creek is, the main creek, if you can see it up to the north there, that's actually the main fork of Lincoln Creek. So that's where we're at.
CRP is Conservation Riparian Program. It's a cost share program that's administered by NRCS, Trees Conservation. This is
Lunch.
well, yeah, this is us taking a lunch. This is the boys. We're starting work. This is down in, like, if you're that previous, this is down where we were doing afforestation with what Bruce mentioned as the pasture that we initiated putting in trees. We'll share some more on this too. This is up, we call this like the uplands. This was planted, like what Bruce said, in when we bought it.
Anyways, it was a big storm, and we just planted that whole field under the CRP, the whole 3.5 acres, and this all backed up from the main fork of Lincoln Creek onto this. This all backed up from the main fork of Lincoln Creek, and it came up it was an old field drainage. And it covered all the trees we planted in mud. You could just see the very top tips of them, and that was it. So we were kind of done with that stand of trees, right? It was not harvested, but it was gone. And for that all to settle out, it was probably about a foot deep.
Oh, I remember it was like walking in frosting because it was terrible. I mean, you can see how much weight is on the boots of one of our sons out there. I mean, it was bad. We haven't found a rock on that area yet. All right, so this is what we did for afforestation, what we really believe in, and this might turn off a lot of people, but we're strong believers in the use of chemicals as far as for site prep or for vegetation management sometimes, especially if you're doing afforestation, if you're doing any conversion from a pasture. So what we've done first here is we would apply herbicide, and then we go in with weed whackers, but are not weed whackers, they have a metal blade, and then we did scalping, and then we come in and then we planted the trees.
We tried a whole bunch of different species out there. First we tried alder, and that got all covered up by the mud there. And we also tried grand fir, and we tried Douglas fir, and some cedar did well. We also planted Sitka spruce, which did well, except for you get the tip liner. So they're like big bushes. They did really good down by the creek because there's a lot of shade, but they're not going to be much of a tree. And we actually planted cottonwood. We planted weeds out there, and they did pretty well. But what really took was Willamette Valley ponderosa pine. It could take the heat in the summer and the dry, and then in the winter, this field that we were converting gets a real high water table. So you drill a hole or dig a hole in the ground, and before you get a tree in there, it'd fill up with water. So the ponderosa pine could take that. Yeah, so now they're like 10, 15 feet tall. So that's that Willamette Valley ponderosa pine. Should good. This is all in a riparian area, so we can never get a forest practices to harvest it. That wasn't really what we were doing down there. We can get the other 34 acres of Doug fir. But this was just a forest that field.
Okay, this is again now the upland, and this is, we did a pre-commercial thinning with equipped cost sharing in 2012. This was building a trail to get across that creek that Bruce pointed out in the photo, and this is just construction to get the ATV across.
Yeah, we used to just drive across with with the wheels in those girders there, but that was a little tricky. And once one of our sons was really good at it, but I wasn't, and we'd be dragging a mower behind. Sometimes it kind of get sideways on that whole thing, so we decided to put planks on it.
This was, we installed a couple of bird perches just for trying to reduce the vole population in that field. Yeah, they stayed up for a long time. I think we saw a hawk on it one time. It's not property that we live on, but it didn't hurt. Made us feel good, whatever.
Yeah, so we built some wildlife piles. They pay pretty good. It was like $800 a pile just to make a brush pile on the land. And so the boys would come up. And also, it was a good place to get rid of all our old rain gear. We could just spread it around to all the guys. We didn't have to buy them new stuff.
Yeah. So it goes back to that work ethic. This is something that we really like to do about this time of year. If there's areas that the stocking level is not very high, they have what we think is too much vine maple or salmonberry or whatever. We kind of go in there and cut it, and then we call it swamper burn. Maybe that's too old of a term or whatever, but where you start a fire and then you're piling on green brush and you're burning it at the same time, and then we come back in and then we plant it.
Oh yeah, so I was using some big game repellent, and it was a new product, Trico Pro. It was made from sheep fat, and that worked really well on our cedars. So we applied it once in the spring and then once in the fall. And so that's what I'm doing out there, is spraying this sheep fat. And then I had pretty good luck with it. And I even watered it down sometimes, which sometimes you can not be as effective if you water it down, but it's kind of spendy. So that's why I watered it down a little bit. We had 4-foot nets on them. We tried the other, I can't remember what they're called. Pardon? Plant skin?
No, we didn't do, no, we didn't do plant skin. What we did was 3 different kinds of, this was the only BGR that we used, but we did do like Vexar tubing and 3 other different kinds of netting that we did. No plant skin.
Oh, this is one of my favorite tools. I like using this. It's a lance, and I inject some of my favorite plants, holly and English ivy, just about anything English with this, and it's really low exposure to the applicator, and it's like a little 22 shell with 0.008 ounces of imazapyr is what I've been using to kill holly and ivy, and it's really effective, and you don't have to go back. I got it from, got the idea from, it was actually King County Recreation uses this.
Okay, so just a really quick, Bruce at the tree farm, he's a tree inspector, and this is us today. I just wanted to cover a couple of things as far as what we thought were successes. First off, so we're 2 foresters. We thought trees could grow anywhere, and determining what kind of species in the right site was a challenge for us until we hit on that Willamette pine. Like Bruce said, we tried quite a few other species, and we didn't have nearly as much luck. It took us a little while to decide to let the ash grow. Ash came in on that site that we showed you, and we let it grow. And so now part of the riparian area is 100% ash with some cotton and willow that we did intermix with that. We pulled in some white pine. It's advertised as white pine resistant to blister rust. I think that's a bunch of baloney. We have 15-year-old white pine that we're losing, and I would not invest in that time again at all.
So right now with the 34 acres of Douglas fir, it's really cranking, but we're reaching that stand where there's nothing growing underneath there. So we'll be looking to do some commercial thinning out there probably in the next 5 years, and then hauling through Weyerhaeuser, and then we're trying to keep the roads from growing up in weeds and everything like that, so we can still use the same rock and not have to rock it over or do anything like that. And we did actually win here at the auction 4 hours of excavator time. And we had them install 2 culverts out there for us, and it was great, you know, that we got those 2 in. They came out and did a really good job for us.
Yep, that was a huge deal. I wish we had taken more photos of that. The only other thing I think is that we mentioned that we had a farmer, and one of the sides of his fields was supposed to have been fenced, and it was deteriorating. And he had cattle coming over, and the cattle are rough. At least these cows were rough on our seedlings. And so we ended up refencing, reestablishing that fence line. So that was one of our challenges.